Okay, so here we go. Hi, I'm Barb Green. I am so glad you're here. Today, we're making one of my childhood favorites, coconut cream pie. There's something so nostalgic about that dessert to me. It just takes me back to my grandma's kitchen and baking with my grandma. This pie will have a tender, crisp, golden crust, a rich, creamy filling blended with sweet flakes of coconut. We'll top it off with a light, fluffy whipped cream, and then just sprinkle a little bit of toasted coconut on top. First, you need a baked crust. I baked one this morning. It's over here behind me. It's cooled and ready to go. This is an all butter crust. You can also pick one up at the store if you're running short on time, or use your favorite crust recipe. I want you to just know how simple this crust is in particular. It's 3 ingredients that you probably already have in your house and ice cold water. So I'm going to just walk you very quickly through the steps for that. First, the flour and salt go into a bowl, and then we want to whisk that to incorporate the salt. We're going to add the cold cubed butter into the flour mixture, and then we want to cut that butter into the mixture until it's fine and crumbly. Next, we want to add the ice water. We're going to do 1 tablespoon at a time until the mixture's looking kind of shaggy and moist, and it's going to form a ball in your hands. Turn the mixture out onto a surface, and you want to form it into a disc. We'll wrap this disc in plastic wrap and refrigerate it for at least 30 minutes. Now the fun begins. We want to roll the crust out into a circle large enough to fit your pie dish. Then you want to place it in the dish, trim the edges, and crimp. To prevent the crust from puffing up while baking, you want to prick the surface and even the edges. This whole process is going to be called blind baking, which is baking the crust fully without any filling in it. Now we want to take this crust and we're going to place baking weighted beads in it, and we want to put a shield around the edges to protect them from burning, and we're going to bake it in the oven at 375 for 15 minutes. Once we've done that, we'll remove the pie from the oven, we'll remove the baking beads, and then we're just going to place it back in the oven and bake it until it's golden brown. It should be like 15 or 20 minutes. So I'll put a link in the description below for this crust if you'd like to try this recipe, and also one using shortening, which is just a little bit easier if it's your first time making a crust. Coconut is the star of the show. We're going to measure this out first. I'm using a scale. I'm going to go ahead and just clear that out. We want to measure out 85 grams or 1 cup. We will take about 1/4 of this and we're going to brown this for our garnish, and then the rest will be reserved for our filling. For our coconut garnish, this doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to just take a couple pinches. It doesn't take very much. And I'm going to place it in a little pan. You can also do this in the oven, but I found this just as easy. Just put it on medium heat. So it's been about 2 minutes and it's really starting to brown nicely. This is when you just want to kind of keep stirring it so that it doesn't burn. And I would say it is about ready. We're going to go ahead and remove it from the heat. Go ahead and just put this in this dish. And put that aside for later. Needs to be nice and cool. So now we want to separate our eggs. Eggs separate best when they're cold, and then ultimately we want the egg yolks at room temperature. Okay, so we have our eggs separated. The yolks are what we need for the filling. We'll just whisking them lightly. This adds a little bit of air and smoothness. Set that aside. So we're putting our first 3 ingredients in a medium saucepan. 130 grams of sugar, which is 2/3 of a cup. Almost there. I'm using a scale for exact measurements. 130 grams. So next we want to do 24 grams, which is 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Perfect, 24 grams. Add that in. Then we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We're going to whisk this for smoothness. We want to make sure all of the lumps are out. Once this mixture is nice and smooth and you've removed all the lumps, we're going to add 2 cups of whole milk in. This is at room temperature. Whole milk has about 3 to 4% fat, and that's what we're looking for. The rich creaminess in this mixture is going to come from the fat in this. This is 500 milliliters. We're going to give that a stir. So then I'm adding a cup of coconut milk. This is all natural, it's unsweetened. If you don't want to go to the store, you can actually just do 3 cups of whole milk. I was adding this in just for an extra kick of coconut flavor. But quite honestly, I've made this before without, and it's really just as yummy. Okay, so I just want you to see this. I took the lid off. This is not coconut oil. This is regular coconut milk, and it does have fats that settle right on the top. That is perfectly normal. I just wanted you to see that in case you've never worked with it before. I didn't want you to panic or think there was something wrong with it. I'm pouring some of that milk in. That's beautiful stuff. So now we're going to add the coconut milk into this mixture. This is pretty neat stuff. Again, the texture is a little different, but it just melts right up and blends in once it's cooked. We're going to cook this at medium heat, stirring constantly until the mixture begins to boil. So I'm seeing a little bit of steam. The mixture is starting to get thicker. I'm just whisking more briskly. I want to make sure that it doesn't stick or burn to the bottom of the pan. Okay, our mixture is beginning to boil. We're going to give it 1 minute and then we're going to remove it from the heat. Whisk away. Okay, it's been 1 minute. We're going to remove this from the heat. We're going to pour a stream of this hot liquid into these egg yolks while we're whisking. We want to raise the temperature of the eggs slowly so that they don't cook. That's called tempering. A little bit at a time. Add a little more. I'm going to do one more time. These are nice and warm now. I'm going to add this egg mixture into the hot mixture while I'm whisking. Now we're going to return this to the burner on medium heat. Once it starts to boil, we're going to boil it for 1 more minute, and then the filling is done. Okay, it's starting to boil, so we're going to give it 1 minute and then we'll remove it from the heat. This mixture is so beautiful. I'm going to show you how to check and see if it's done. You take a wooden spoon and you just stir it a little bit. When you pull it out, If you run your finger through it and it doesn't run together, it stays just like that, it is done. We've done a good job. Now that our mixture is all done, we're going to stir in 1 tablespoon of butter for smoothness. We're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla for flavor. Just want to stir that till it's all incorporated. Once that's all stirred in, the very last thing we do is stir in our coconut, and then we'll put it in our pie shell. So again, this is about 3/4 cup. Just going to stir that in. This looks so yummy. Smells yummy. Now we're going to pour this directly into our pie shell. I'm going to stop right there. There's a little bit extra. Now we're going to cover this up with plastic wrap and then just let it cool for about 2 hours. I'll see you back here in a minute. So our pie is now chilled. We're going to make our whipped cream. We're going to add 1 cup of really cold, you can even put this in the freezer. This will whip up faster if it's cold. You can even chill your bowl, you can chill the beaters for the mixer. Cold is the key. We're also adding sugar. This is 2 tablespoons, which is 25 grams. You can do granulated sugar or powdered sugar. Today I'm using powdered sugar. I'm looking for the stabilization because I'm going to take this to the stiff peak stage. So I want that stability. There's 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla here. This is for flavor. And 1 pinch of salt for balance. You almost always have to have salt. And then we just begin mixing. I'm using my hand mixer because I like to be a little more interactive with the mixture. Whipping cream can go from soft peak stage to stiff peak stage very quickly, and then it can go over. The mixture can be overbeaten and it'll actually take on a texture. You're actually making butter at that point, which is not what we want. We want it smooth and creamy. You can use a stand mixer. I have one behind me and sometimes I do that. And here's a really fun thing. You can make it by hand with a simple bowl and a whisk. I did that in my strawberry pie recipe if you want to check that out. It's kind of gratifying. You just whip and whip and whip, incorporate air into it, and you make it by hand. We're going to use this today. I'm actually just whisk this a little bit with the mixers so that we don't have a cornstarch cloud that goes over us. And then we begin whipping on medium speed just to get it incorporated. Again, this only takes 3 or 4 minutes. It usually comes very quickly. The mixture is starting to get thicker now. When you start to see the cream making a trail, you know you're getting close, which is about where we are. I'll show you what I like to do. Just shut it off, and basically you just want to check it. You want to see what it's doing. It's starting to get stiff. It's almost to the soft peak stage. Soft peak stage is a good place to have it if you just want to use dollops of whipped cream over maybe some fresh fruit or even a coffee cake or something like that. The trail is starting to form here. I'm just going to check it again. You can see we're just about at that stiff peak stage. I'm going to actually let you see with a spoon. That's more at a soft peak stage. We're getting there. Let's give this a try. And look at that. We have a stiff peak. There's not really a peak there, but this is definitely stiff. And we don't want to go beyond that because then the mixture will start to break. This is at the perfect consistency for what we need. Yay. Let's get this on our pie. We're going to go ahead and remove the plastic wrap. That looks so nice. It's set, firm, just a nice little jiggle. I'm kind of excited to get this thing finished. We're going to take our whipped cream and just put right in the center, most of it, and then we'll just work our way outward. This is so pretty. Now we're just going to smooth outward to the edge. I'm purposely leaving a little bit of a mountain in the center because I think it looks pretty that way. So there we have our whipped cream on. Now we're going to garnish it with our lightly toasted coconut. This will add a little bit of texture, a nice little nutty flavor, a little bit of crunch. And there we have it. I enjoyed taking a nostalgic trip down memory lane with you. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make a coconut cream pie. In the comment section, tell me what your favorite childhood dessert was. So here we go. I feel like this is almost too pretty to cut, but we're doing it. Whoa. Look how beautiful that is. The nice cold whipped cream, it's lightly sweet. It balances with that creamy coconut flavor. And the crust is really crispy and yummy. If you enjoyed doing this, check out my pie playlist. There's so much more fun in there. See you there.